I'm Dean, I'm the dad.
I'm Laura, I'm the mom.
And I'm Krysta, I'm the daughter.
And together we are Family Plot.
There we go.
We're off our...
I don't know why you thought it was going to be an issue. I got you.
What are you talking about?
He's a little messy today.
He thought that I was going to leave the group hanging as we were doing our intro, and I went to say something to Chris, and I stopped so we could do the intro because I thought everyone else might want to hear too.
Fair enough. So
welcome to Family Plot.
Yeah.
Yes, welcome.
Yeah, welcome to Family Plot. Get the housekeeping out of the way here. A couple of ways you can help us out if you like us. One is Patreon. It's $1 and $3. You get cool stuff for joining.
I want to see if we can make Krysta have to draw 10 new pieces of art in March from us getting new Patreons. That would be my goal.
Yeah, and
let's see if, so it's $2. Let's see if we can get.
That would be the $3. Yeah, but it's 1 and a 3 is what.
So the $3, if we can get 10 new Patreon subscribers in the month of March, Krysta is going to send each one of you your own artwork, your own unique Krysta art.
Hey. I've been working on stuff.
That
I
is
have examples if Dad needs
super surprise. Just bringing it right now for our first 10 new Patreon subscribers in the month of March. We'll get a Krysta signed piece of art.
Works for me. I'm okay with it.
And I have art too. That is super fun.
So, yeah, that's Patreon. If you can't do a monthly thing, you go to Buy Me a Coffee, which is just a $1 or $2 one-time donation. If you enjoy the show, please share it on social media.
Share it with family.
Share it with friends.
With everyone.
Do you keep swapping those back between us? I feel like I say friends some weeks and she says...
No. It's the same.
It is? Okay, I'm just getting confused. My bad.
If you don't enjoy the show, please keep it to yourself. Awesome. Very nice. What are we talking about tonight? Well, tonight we're heading down to Key West. We'll be bypassing Robert the Doll and going to the legendary Captain Tony's Saloon. We share its history and its hauntings in this special Man, I Love Key West episode of the Family Plot Podcast. But first, Krysta has a corner.
It's not just any corner, it's Krysta's corner.
And Krysta actually knows what she's talking about this week, which I'm so excited because she's had a couple of weeks. I'm not telling you anything you don't know, Daddy, where she's had a little bit of an issue coming up or something to talk about.
Listen, sometimes
it's called improv. Boring. It's good practice.
This is true.
Boring, but I'm not going into drama next year.
Okay, you are never boring. Never.
Well, first of all, let's start off the corner. How are we doing?
We are okay.
Doing good, except for think Dad's gonna be mad at me later.
Because she's being really sassy.
Because I am being sassy.
That would be way better if I didn't just find this under my foot.
Well, it could have been worse. It could have been under your butt.
I was sitting on the bus today, and I on my seat, literally, it felt like there was a pencil underneath me. There wasn't. I was very sensitive to things touching me today. I don't know why.
I see. I'm sorry.
My friend even grabbed my arm. I was just like, ugh.
Oh, my poor Krysta.
So, to the phantom tickler that lives in our house, no tickling Krysta.
Yep, Krysta B.
Totally phantom. It's him.
Did she just say it's me?
She just called you up.
Why you gotta yank my weave like that? Why?
We were just talking about that, actually.
Yep.
Because Dimmicks yanked Mom's weave.
Yep. Happens to me all the time.
Threw something. I don't know what he threw.
That happens all the time, too.
So,
we try to pretend we have a
vibe?
Yeah, we have a whole chill situation going with our recording scene, but it's not. It's just our craziness.
It's chaos. So what are we talking about in your corner today? You said you had a plan. I'm waiting.
She's going to educate you. She's going to educate you about her newest interest, which is a show called Atypical.
It's on Netflix. It's about this. I suck at explaining things.
Okay, it's atypical.
Atypical, yes.
But, or is it the word atypical?
Atypical. The word
atypical.
Okay. That helps. When I do Google searches later to see if I approve.
Pookie, since when do you ever do that? Since now?
Oh, you'd be surprised. You would be surprised the things your father searches when he's on his time.
Oh, okay.
There's a reason he does all the research for the podcast, darling.
Okay, good to know. It's called Atypical. It's about this teenager who's going into adulthood, I suppose, and he is on the autism spectrum, and he's finding his way through high school and relationships and just normal things like that, and it shows his perspective on a lot of those things. And he's a higher functioning, kid with autism, so he's trying to relate himself to different things and, just experiencing things. And I find that very interesting, but along with that, there's also some drama on the side with his family. And I just think it's very interesting, and I feel like if people like those types of things and they're okay with LGBTQ, then, I recommend watching it.
So kind of, not exactly, but kind of The Good Doctor, but without the doctoring.
Yeah, like Good Doctor meets Wonder Years.
Okay. I'll still Google it later.
World.
Yeah, I'll still Google it later just to make sure it's cool.
I mean, go ahead if you wanna. I'm already on the 4th season. It's already almost over, and I'm so upset.
What are you watching it on?
Netflix.
Oh, go. Netflix. The days of Netflix having porn are long gone.
You thought a 14-year-old was watching porn?
No, but
I'm so confused. I'm like,
no, he's talking about those.
Okay, if she's watching something on YouTube, for example, YouTube won't let any dirty nonsense on their platform. I'm not worried about it. if she's watching on Netflix. Netflix won't let much dirty nonsense on their platform. I'm not worried about it.
Gotcha.
And I know the password.
Again, I'm not worried about it because I know where their limit is. If you really want to watch Eli Roth horror movies, go ahead.
But yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. Like those websites.
Yeah.
Websites.
Yeah.
That people like, yoink, movies.
Yoink. I love you,
Yoink.
Chris.
Ian lost a whole laptop because he got a virus from some website where basically people would go to the movies and film the movies while they were at the movies and then put up that film online.
Right.
That sucks.
But that was a long time ago. Ian hasn't been that young in a minute.
Yep.
God, I'm old.
God, I'm old.
We are.
Somebody
I'm
kill
old.
me.
No, you're not allowed to go anywhere.
I'm 14 years old. I am going to turn 15-year-old.
No. You have to go back to being 6.
No.
I miss 6.
No. I'm gonna turn 15 years old, and then I'm gonna look for jobs. Because that's important.
Have to be 15 and a half.
How dare.
Yeah.
Okay, well then I'll start searching for jobs, and then I'll apply to a job when it's about to be my 16th birthday. How about that?
That's fine.
Fine.
That works.
Okay.
I hope they like listening to my plans.
Well, they don't sound like evil plans, so I think you're okay.
Plans. Let's take a visit to that one lady that I hate so much that I will never bring her name up ever again.
Sharon Kinney?
I just said don't bring her name up ever again.
Well, you said you would never bring her name.
Okay. I hate her.
But didn't you just say you wanted to visit with her? Well, it is technically possible she's still alive, but I am not capable on any level, physical, emotional, spiritual, intellectual, of doing the sort of detective work that it would take to find her.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna find her and make her have a heart attack.
All right.
Anyways, let's not talk about my
Issues with Sharon Kinney.
issues with people that I shall not mention again.
Just refer to her as her nemesis.
As my nemesis.
That needs like a dun dun dun.
No, it doesn't.
That's behind it. Nemesis. Dun dun dun.
I have that.
That would be awesome.
Awesome.
Maybe a little bit of an echo when she says Nemesis. Dun dun dun. Like that. That was awesome.
I got it.
Make a thing. Make a thing. And then anytime we bring up Sharon Kinney in an episode, then you can play. It would be like a little mini insert of Krysta's corner. Nemesis. Dun dun dun. I like it.
Well, that's okay. I was actually thinking next week we're talking about the Hoya Baciu Forest.
Which Dan's coming.
Right. But I found out about the Hoya Baciu Forest by watching a show called Destination Truth.
Yes.
Which has Josh Gates on it, who's my hero.
Man crush.
Right. So what I was thinking is I need to see if AI can do audio and just give it like Josh Gates and like heavenly audio, like heavenly sound, so that I can rip that and go
like Angel Herps.
Yeah, like well, I was thinking more like Josh Gates, that sort of yeah. So when I say his name, we can. So I got to look for that at some point too, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
I like it.
But yeah, so I'm always up for sound bites. Those are fun. So yeah, we just need one for Krysta. Oh, look at the kitty cat face.
Anyways, that's all I have for today. I'm so sorry about that.
Oh, you're good. You're good. We like hearing about stuff that Krysta is interested in.
Oh, except the fact that your sparkling water says raspberry and not raspberry, and that is very upsetting to me. It's also not capital. I feel like this should be capital and put together like this, not like this. I like things to be symmetrical. Haven't you heard? I don't know why.
You could be on the spectrum, but we're testing for that. So
We're working in that direction at least, Chips.
yeah. Okay. Wait.
Laps.
Okay. So
Like you'd know if he had to edit it out.
I would. I'd be able to tell.
we did not talk much about Key West itself when we talked about Robert the Doll.
Yeah, Robert is kind of his own thing. He doesn't leave a lot of dilly-dally for things in the surrounding area or anything.
So let's do a brief history of Key West, and by this we are very brief. We're just hustling through on a very fast train. That's what we're doing. It was originally home to tribes of indigenous people who lived on fish, lobsters, and other seafood, as well as sea grapes. They made weapons and tools out of wood, conch shells, and shark's teeth. In 1822, American businessman John Simonton and his three partners purchased Key West for the princely sum, at that time, of $2,000. Afterwards, the island was made part of the U.S., and a flag was hoisted above it. The island was a customs port, a place where goods from the West Indies entered through Key West, and it was a defensive outpost. By 1825, Key West was home to the wrecking industry. Thus, ships that sunk and were recovered could not be taken back to the Bahamas, but had to be auctioned in Key West.
Ah, very nice.
This led to a massive buildup as many people came to Key West to make their fortunes. During the Civil War, the Union seized the island, using it as a southern base for Union ships during the war, and from there manned a blockade meant to keep goods from the southern U.S. Due to this, Key West was the only southern territory to thrive. Finally, as the wrecking industry began to dry up, the sponge industry took off, making a lot of money for the locals of Key West. And that is the rough beginnings of Key West, Florida.
That's pretty cool, though, all of the things that they figured out that they could do there. Because as beautiful and amazing as it is now, I know that before it was developed, it would have been just as inhospitable as like Central America and South America, where there are so many deadly and frightening things. So,
Yeah. Plus, we're back in the Bahamas again, but at this point, we're kind of, well, we won't be there while the Duke and Duchess of Windsor are there too much. But yeah, we kind of go back there again. Because one of the things that was really popular around this time was piracy. Piracy was very popular.
lots of pirates.
And so by making Key West a designation that it was for the wrecking industry, pirates taking off with treasure were basically committing salvage crimes, and they would hang them on Key West.
I see. Wow.
And more than a few pirates were hung there.
That's pretty awesome. So what we should probably do now is hear about one of our fellow indie podcasters.
Yes. Yep. Let's hear a word from another podcast.
I'm Annie from Boston, Massachusetts.
And I'm Johanna from Vienna, Austria. We are the hosts of Fresh Hell, your international podcast that covers murder, mystery, and the macabre throughout history. Are you interested in the 3,569 ways your household could have killed you in the Victorian era?
Do you know how malaria and syphilis played a role in the John List family murders?
And have you ever wondered what Prince Albert's sex chair had to do with the murder of Stanford White? Okay, nothing. It had nothing to do with it. We're still telling you about it, though.
It's a pretty great sex chair. If you're looking for another show that talks about Ted Bundy, this is probably not the podcast for you. But if you're looking for two women that cover lesser-known cases from all over the world with a lot of background information.
So much background information that you will rock your local pub quiz from now on.
Then find Fresh Hell Podcast on your favorite podcast app.
We also have German cannibals.
See you soon.
Tschüss.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Apparently, Mom said murder is okay.
Yeah, apparently I said murder's okay. I don't remember. I guess it could have been in my younger years when I was a little bit.
I mean, she did say awesome earlier.
Well, as colorful as Key West's history is, there are those who say it is rivaled by the history of the building that is known these days as Captain Tony's Key West Saloon. Located at 428 Greene Street and built in 1851, the location was originally an icehouse that doubled as the local morgue. Wow. In 1890, it became a telegraph operator business, and it was this telegraph that received news of the Maine sinking in Havana Harbor. It became a cigar factory, and briefly a bordello.
Well, I was just pointing out that
was shortly after
that when the Maine sank
Mhm.
in Havana Harbor, it was this telegraph operator who sent that. So when we were talking about the guy that created Pecos Bill a couple of weeks ago being in Chicago, but when we were talking about Pecos Bill being in Chicago, and this is how it got to him.
I see. So,
And I interrupted. You were talking.
after that, it became a cigar factory. That's what I was saying. That
Right.
It became a cigar factory. Thank you for stopping me. And briefly, a bordello, because those two things go together, before it was purchased by Morgan Bird.
Who are you, President Clinton?
Who turned it into the Duval Club. I refuse to answer that question. I did not have sex with that woman. I'm so sorry. So sorry. With the Navy's ban, the clientele was down to almost nothing, and Morgan was forced to close the club. Afterwards, it became several speakeasies, the last of which was known as the Blind Pig. That says a lot for the kind of people you expect in your establishment. A place where one could pay to gamble, to drink, and to have the company of a young lady. In 1933, Josie Russell bought the bar and named it Sloppy Joe's Bar in honor of a friend of Ernest Hemingway's named Jose Garcia, who had a bar in Havana called Sloppy Joe's Bar. Sure, that was the reason.
I think her name's just Joe and you're sloppy during...
Well, anyway, woo, we're going the wrong direction there, little girl.
Yeah, that's why I turned away. You just looked at me.
Russell and Hemingway were friends, and both were friends with Garcia. Hemingway was a nightly guest through 1937, but in 1938, the landlord chose to raise the rent $1 a week. Russell and his patrons closed down the bar and in the middle of the night moved everything over to 201 Duval Street, where Sloppy Joe's is currently located today. The location at 428 Greene Street went through several owners before it was eventually purchased by Captain Tony Terracino, a local charter boat captain. In those early days, Captain Tony would tend bar, and in the 70s, Jimmy Buffett played on stage, getting his start in Key West and often getting paid in tequila. Jimmy immortalized the bar and Captain Tony in his song Last Mango in Paris.
Woo! That was
That's a lot.
Yeah.
I did well with that, though.
Oh, you did great. You did great.
Measured right through it. I was in the zone.
Yeah, I was proud of you.
Excellent.
Let's take a moment for a word from our sponsors.
Sounds good.
Hey, Dad.
Yeah, Krysta.
I feel pretty sponsored.
Yay!
I feel sponsored too. I was just getting a little dehydrated after all of that excellent reading.
So, Chris, why don't you tell us more about Captain Tony's?
Alrighty. You guys hear that? I thought I was pretty funny. Scoochie woochy, please, and thank you, Pookie.
You are funny and
You're
adorable.
always funny. You're adorable. You're
Alrighty.
adorable.
A gerbil?
Yeah.
Gerbil. Gerbils are adorable. I love a gerbil. Anyway, one of the features,
yes.
One of the features of Captain Tony's is a large tree that grows through the bar itself, with 6 inches or so poking at the bar's top. There used to be more, but Hurricane Irma?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
They name hurricanes after women. Don't know why.
Okay.
They name hurricanes. Well, I mean,
The women deserve it. Okay. Took all but the 6 inches. Okay. Okay. And the tree still grows leaves within the bar itself. At least 50 people accused of piracy were hung from this very tree. In the 80s, some floorboards were pulled up, revealing the bones of 15 to 18 people and a grave marker for Eliza Drew that can now be found next to pool tables. Eliza was a sad case, a teenager married to an abusive alcoholic in his 50s. She shot him in self-defense. However, back when this happened, self-defense was not considered reasonable for a woman to kill a man. So she was hung at the tender age of 19. Another gravestone, this one belonged to Reba I. Sawyer, my bad. I am so sorry.
you're perfect. You're perfect. Keep going. You're all right.
That's a weird name.
Sawyer, huh? I am so sorry for mispronouncing that, guys. I am just off the hooks today. Is found leaning against the tree. The story goes that Reba, a Key West native, is that what it says?
Yes.
Key West, yeah.
Okay. Passed in 1950, and shortly afterwards, her husband discovered several letters written to her by another man. Apparently, she and the man in question had a years-long affair, and they would always meet at Captain Tony's saloon. In a drunken fit, the husband grabs Reba's headstone and drug it from the cemetery into the bar, and leaned it against the tree, announcing this is where she wanted to be, so this is where she will stay. Many graves are still under the floor at Captain Tony's, and it is believed that there is nowhere to stand. No. That there is nowhere to stand where you aren't standing on someone's final resting place. There is even a skeleton dressed in high finery sitting at the bar.
Very nice. So they gave the skeleton some evening wear.
Yeah. And there's two versions of that story about Reba I. Sawyer.
Uh-huh.
Two versions. The first version is the one that I wrote down and passed along, in that he drugged the cemetery in a drunken fit, right?
Right.
He finds out his wife's been cheating on him with this guy. Well, this is where she wanted to be. This is where she'll stay, right? Drags a headstone.
Mm-hmm.
That's believable. The other one, not so much. In a drunken fit, he digs her up, drags her coffin and headstone to the bar.
Yeah, that's a lot. Like,
And
the
then-
headstone itself is kind of unbelievable because those things are literally tons, not just like pounds. Like, some of those are literal tons of rock.
And yeah. But I can believe drug. Okay, drug. And I've seen the one in question. It's one of the thinner ones, so it's
Right.
it's probably close. It may be close to a ton, but it's probably very heavy. But it's not undoable.
Right.
But drunken fits and fits of anger,
Mhm.
for most people, don't last too long.
Right.
You know, and once you burn out all that rage, the energy goes with it.
Right.
And so I can see someone having the energy, especially knowing they're going to a bar where they can get more beer, to drag the headstone. I can see that. But the whole digging up the coffin and then reburying it, that's a lot of work. I don't even think you could do that in a single day. And I think somebody in the bar might stop you.
I feel like, yeah. I feel like once they knew what you were planning, either way, there's no way you can take both of those at once. Shoot, I'm following you down this rabbit hole. There's no way you can take both of those at once and show up at the bar and be like, they're here now and I'm not taking them back. So when one or the other of those items, whichever one you have to bring first, shows up, it's somebody's calling the authorities at that point.
Yeah.
And the other one's gonna be a thing.
Right. And that's what I was saying, is I honestly think that it's just the more believable story is the one I wrote down, is that he just drug the headstone over there. But there may be more under the floorboards. Like I said, it used to be a morgue once upon a time, or like I think actually you said, used to be a morgue once upon a time. So yeah, it's got a history. So it should surprise no one that it's haunted.
Of course not.
There are many ghosts believed to haunt Captain Tony's. One is the Lady in Blue. Now, the story goes that she is one of the people hung on the gallows tree. It is believed she murdered both her husband and her 2 children, stabbing them to death.
No.
Some believe she did it because he cheated on her. Whatever the case, she was hung soon enough afterwards that her blue dress was still stained with the blood of her victims. She is often seen walking the bar, her dress still blood-stained. She is the ghost who has scared away the most customers. Another story says that back in the days when the bar was a speakeasy, a woman was looking for her husband and brought her baby into the bar with her. She saw her husband there and then kissing another woman. In a fit of madness, she took the baby in the restroom and killed it, leaving its body to be discovered. So it comes as no surprise that the women's restroom is supposedly haunted as well.
Oh, awful.
The stalls will lock and unlock by themselves. Strange whispery voices can be heard within, and occasionally the cry of a baby as well. The current owner, Joe Farber, has heard voices when no one was in the bar. Most famously, one night as he was locking up around 3 a.m., he heard a voice say, "Don't leave, Joe." Despite the warning voice, he left, only to get a call from the police around 6 a.m. A young woman was found dead in front of the bar, apparently taking her own life, and trigger warning. I didn't catch that till just now. Trigger warning. If you ever feel like removing yourself from the world's equation, please don't. You matter, as our friend Kate would have said. And boy, that's harder to say now, but it's still the truth. Absolutely. You matter. So stick around. 988, I believe, is the suicide hotline. Use it if you need it.
Yep, it's 988.
So, sorry, guys, I missed that completely. Some claim to see ghosts of former pirates and former ladies of the evening. Although, I wondered when I was researching this, some of the ladies of the evening could be drag queens from its days when it was the Duval Club.
Right, absolutely.
Because they didn't dress dissimilarly back then, you know?
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, yeah. And then another visitor to the bar, after a night of drinking, decided to try and climb the hanging tree. As he climbed, his hands felt hot and soon felt like they were sizzling. He fell off the tree and was rushed to the hospital, where he was treated for third-degree burns on his hands. Finally, recently, some patrons have reported that since his passing, Jimmy Buffett has made a few ghostly appearances at the bar where he was once a performer.
Yeah, okay. Sure, if you say so. That one's a little far-fetched.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jimmy's coming back by now that he's been dead for a couple of days. He's made it over this way. Jimmy Buffett literally has gone to the afterlife where he can party with all the greats who have gone before him. He ain't coming back here to hang out at no place he hung out at here.
One would think that would be true of people like Hemingway, but
I don't know that Hemingway enjoyed himself.
I think he enjoyed himself up to a point, but when he could no longer handle it, enjoying himself that way, with all the boozing and women and whatever and everything he did, I think when he reached a point he felt like he wasn't. And I don't know. This is all speculatory on my part.
Of course.
Well, I just don't want some Hemingway scholar to write in, well, you clearly haven't read. You're right. No, I haven't. I don't know. It's all speculatory.
Absolutely.
I don't know why.
A little bit that we've discussed here, though. I mean, the several times that we've discussed him, it's always, there was just, and I may be, even if this isn't correct history or true, just in my mind's eye, that would not be an enjoyed existence. We talk a lot about the issues of living under addiction, and we're just triggering, but alcohol is definitely an addictive behavior. There are hundreds of thousands of people that suffer with alcoholism. It's absolutely a illness, just like all other kinds of illness. So I feel like maybe he wasn't enjoying, like, he didn't have a happy life.
And that's possible too.
Yeah, so I don't know.
I mean, that's possible too. Just like I said, and as for Jimmy, I can see him turning up, I guess, because see, here's the thing: he stopped performing at Captain Tony's when he bought a bar around the corner,
right?
And then he would only perform at the bar he bought around the corner And I believe that bar, and again, it's been a long time since I've read this, but that bar is what is now become the Jimmy Buffett Bar and Grills, or they were the Cheeseburger in Paradise place. That God, I need to get there again. Those places are so good.
Okay.
Anyway, but but Jimmy would still go to Captain Tony's. He'd make appearances. He wouldn't perform. And so making an appearance at Captain, maybe it's in his contract. Maybe he died and all right, you get to go to heaven, but what? You signed a yeah, we'll see that contract had a writer and it's a heavenly writer. It means you got to go back and hang out at one of these 6 places for most of eternity.
That's hilarious. That would be, what a deal. Like, oh yeah, you were famous in life. Now you're going to be busy in the afterlife too. You don't get out just because you died, dude. We've been waiting for you. We've been waiting for you to get over here so everybody could see you here.
Exactly.
Your Dead and In Person concert tour.
So, but as to the hauntings themselves, I absolutely believe the place is haunted. Easily so. You've got a gallows tree that was used as a gallows.
Right.
You've got bodies under the floorboards, along with like what the Eliza Drew headstone. They found it under the floorboard.
Yeah.
So you've got bodies and grave markers under the floorboards.
Yep.
Very
poltergeist.
So yeah, is it haunted? Oh, I'm sure it is. I have no doubt. If the Alaskan in Juneau is haunted, this place is haunted
for sure.
Yeah, but as far as does Jimmy haunt the place? Like I said, couple people
maybe he's still under contract.
Couple people reported seeing him, but again, it's one of those things where how drunk were you at the time? And I don't have the answer to that question because I'm sure they have like pictures of him or cutouts of him or something up, like on the wall of the bar, right?
Yeah.
And a drunk person could go, "Ooh, hey, it's Jimmy." Yeah, it is, but it's not a ghost, you ass.
Right, exactly.
So, I don't know the level of inebriation these people are at.
Sure. Absolutely. We've talked before, even still, about that tape, the stone tape theory that things can replay. And in that, are we seeing that actual spirit, or are we just seeing an image apparating due to the extreme nature of that situation?
Yeah, and that some of that is possible because, like the story about the mom killing the baby.
Yeah, that's
awful. I couldn't find any corroboration of it.
Right.
At all.
Right.
So, but it happened long enough ago.
Sure.
Absolutely. Corroboration might have simply been lost.
Right.
But it's possible it never happened, and that the only reason people hear babies cry is enough people are telling the story. It's sort of what they expect.
Yep.
And Astonishing Legends not too long ago did a couple episodes about a group of scientists that basically held a seance to not contact a dead person. And they got a lot of actual responses from this not dead person they created.
Right.
And so then that tells me if enough people believe in something, then you're going to get babies crying, whether there was ever a baby in there or not.
Right. Exactly.
As for the guy on the tree, ooh. Ooh, I don't got nothing for you falling off the tree. Sorry, man.
I think you're on drugs.
Yeah, we don't know what happened to
What were you climbing
We
up?
don't know what happened to his hands before he got on that tree. That's just...
What were you climbing up? The oven?
Yeah, I could see that too. But
He was drunk. He climbed up on the oven.
alrighty. So, final thoughts?
I mean, I thought that's what we were doing.
Yeah, I mean, this was our final thoughts.
Uh,
I don't even know that we need to keep put, because that's what we do. We get to the last line and it's like, we just break it down, boy. You don't even need to put that in there. We're just like, yep. So this is what I think, or I want to talk about that. Let's talk about that. Then, okay.
and it does. Here's the thing. There was a show on a few years ago, starring, of all people, Fisher Stevens.
I don't know who that is, but keep going.
It's
okay. It's okay. We know I don't know actors. It's fine. Keep going.
Okay. Do you remember the movie with Johnny Five?
Yes.
The Indian doctor?
Yes.
It was a white guy playing the Indian. That was Fisher Stevens.
Okay. All right. Okay. I know who that is.
Okay. And he's been in dozens of other things.
Yes.
But he was in a show for Fox, I want to say, called Key West, with Jennifer Tilly playing a prostitute that eventually became sort of a love interest.
Okay.
And like he was playing a character that was like a smart guy from New Jersey, but he wanted to be a writer, but he could never make, he didn't have anybody to fund him, so he could write. So he had to work at this movie. Well, he wins the lottery.
Okay.
Drives down to Key West because that's where Ernest Hemingway hung out.
Yeah. And
he thinks Hemingway is the guy, right? And so he's going to start there. And like the very first episode, one of the first guys he meets is the sheriff of Key West. Mm-hmm. And the sheriff is played by, I don't even know the actor's name, but one of those big guys that always looks like, he's just super buff, but he's like, when he's talking about punishing bad guys, he's like, yeah, you just watch your P's and Q's, or you'll be down on the beach with me doing Tai Chi at 3 a.m. every morning. He's going to solve crime by like meditating your stress away, right? That guy. And Denise Crosby, Tasha Yar, played the mayor of Key West.
I see.
And for a brief moment, when they seceded from the U.S., they became the Conch Republic, and she was the mayor until they wrote her character out.
I see.
For being a lesbian.
Okay. Wow.
But anyway, long story short, I loved that show.
Oh, I could tell.
I really love that show. And that's what Captain Tony's does for me here. It wasn't in the show at all. But boy, I can see writing a movie around it almost, because like Captain Tony was a chartered fisherman, the sort of guy you go on a sea trip with. And well, he's got this sea bass, a mounted or sea grouper, giant sea grouper, mounted above the sign for Captain Tony's. Mm-hmm. And the rumor is, or the story goes, if you get a quarter in that grouper's mouth, it'll buy you luck for a while. And so I can just see it. The start of a movie, somebody chinks the quarter up in there, and then that sort of becomes their luck fuel for the rest of the movie.
I like it.
It's a thought.
It is. It's a good thought.
That's our show. Thanks for listening.
Well, as always, absolutely. It was a good show.
It was a good show. Thanks for continuing to keep us in the Good Pod's Top 100. Thanks to Bill Barrett. I'll spell that last name Behrendt. Thanks to Bill for doing our theme music. And Bill is a musician. If you need music for a project, Bill's your guy. Also, if you need a musician for an event, Bill's also probably your guy. You can reach him at Bill Barrett at sbcglobal.net. Also, thanks go out to Paige Elmore of the Reverie Crime Podcast. Now, not only is she a fantastic crime podcaster, and you will hear her in our promos, but not only is she fantastic, but she also has a Canva addiction, and so she combines that with some of our very own Krysta's artwork to do logo art from time to time. So thank you, Paige.
Thank you, Paige.
Also, thanks to Aaron Ganurk of the Big Dumb Fun Show for continuing to promote us locally. Please join our Facebook group. I have noticed several new faces in there making comments, talking about episodes they listened to and enjoyed. And I am so thrilled about that. And then, please continue to join the Facebook group. The only way that place could get any better is if you were a part of it. Anyway, also join us as we next week look into the Hoya Baciu Forest with author of Cabin 187, Dan B. Fierce, will join us for our 187th episode.
And that won't be something else. That will. Anyway.
Bye.